Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is going to be all about my October TBR. If you're interested in seeing the books that I want to read this month, please stick around. As I said in my introduction, this video is all about the books that I want to read in October 2022. I did really well with my September TBR. I think I read every book on it except for one. And so I'm hoping to do really well with my October TBR too. I definitely went with kind of like a theme for October, which I don't necessarily do when I'm putting together a TBR. I think it was either in July or August where I really wanted to focus on reading books that were like took place in the summer or had summer in the title. But other than that, I've never really selected my books in that way, like with a theme in mind or like a concept in mind. And I did go into my October TBR really wanting to focus on reading like mystery, thriller, suspense style books. Not all of them I think are going to fit that mold. But I'm very excited about all of the books in my TBR. If you've watched any of my reading videos, you'll know that I actually really like going into books blind. So I don't read like the synopsis. I don't read the back cover. And so when I'm putting together a TBR, when I have like an idea of what I want to read in mind, I'm really kind of just going based off the title and based off like the front cover and what I think the book is going to be about. And so that's why some of these definitely may not fall into mystery or suspense or thriller, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The first book is super popular. I've definitely heard it mentioned on BookTube and Instagram a bunch. I actually not that long ago was chatting with one of my old coworkers and she brought up The Midnight Library and said how much she loved it and how much she recommends it. And so I ended up picking up The Midnight Library. This definitely I don't think is like a mystery suspense thriller style book, but it does seem like it has potential for like a little bit of like fantasy. And I feel like that makes sense for October as well. So that's kind of why I decided to end up reading it this month. Again, I know it's super popular, but I don't know anything about it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how I like it. The next one is another one that, again, I don't think is going to be like mystery, thriller, suspense or anything like that. And I mostly picked it up or decided to put it on this list because the title was really intriguing to me. That's why I picked up the book. And then literally like a few days ago, one of my current colleagues that I work with was like, have you heard of this book? And I was like, oh my God, I have it. I picked it up because I thought the title was so interesting. She's like, you have to read it. It's so good. And that is The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. Again, I don't know anything about this, but the title is so good. The cover is really pretty. She said that it was really good, and that is my same colleague that recommended The Nightingale to me, which I really love. That was a 5-star read for me, and probably one of my favorite books I've read this year, so very intrigued to read this. The next is one that I know is going to be like mystery suspense. I also think it's super popular. It is on Reese's Book Club, and I think I mentioned in the past that when I see that on a book, it gives me a little bit more of a push to think maybe I'll like it, because I don't think there's any books on Reese's Book Club that I've read that I haven't liked. So very intrigued by this one, and again, I think this is really popular too, and that is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. So the cover is super interesting. It says you'd kill to be on it. On the guest list. I definitely think this is going to be like a thriller, mystery, whatever. And again, I'm pretty sure it is really popular. So I'm very excited to read this. Very excited. I haven't read a lot of mystery thriller, but the ones that I've read, I've like really enjoyed. And that's why I kind of wanted to focus on some of that stuff. The next one is a classic. It is a classic. It is a book that I've had for a very, very long time. I honestly don't know where I got this. It's really beautiful. The cover, I think must have gotten it at like a yard sale or like a secondhand bookstore or something like that. But the next book on my TBR is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Obviously, you know, it's October. Why not read Frankenstein? I've had this book for a long, long time, and I was just like looking through my bookshelves to see what mystery-esque, thriller-esque style books I already own, because I really am trying to read what I own. And I totally forgot that I had this, and I was like, oh, definitely have to pull this out for October. You know, obviously I know who Frankenstein is, but I've never read the book before, so we'll see if I end up enjoying it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous to read it. I don't do well with classics. I think the language is just really challenging to me. And so I'm worried that I'm going to end up reading this and it's going to like take me forever to get through. But you know, we'll see what happens. It does have a really long introduction, and bibliography and a chronology of Mary Shelley's life in here. And so, yeah, and a preface. Very odd. Anyways, but the book itself is still a few hundred pages, so we'll see. I don't know. I'm a little nervous about this one, I'll be honest. Next, we have one that I have talked about before. I think I mentioned it in a book haul, and I think I mentioned in that book haul that I did want to read it kind of more in the fall. It was made into a series on Netflix. I definitely want to watch the show, but I want to read this first. It doesn't seem like it's going to be like mystery or like thriller, but maybe a little suspenseful, because I'm thinking maybe like you don't know what the truth is in a sense, and that's Anatomy of a Scandal by Sarah Vaughan. And it says on the cover, you want to believe your husband, she wants to destroy him. So, I mean, I think it's obviously about an affair. I did see like the preview on Netflix. And so I'm wondering if it's going to be more about like who's telling the truth, that type of a thing. So I think it's going to have that little bit of like suspense to it when it comes to like that aspect of the situation. So I am very interested to read this. I'm very intrigued to read this. Next is another, well, I think this is considered a classic, or I don't know, maybe it's more of like a modern day classic. I don't know. Maybe more of like a modern day classic, but it's super popular. I've definitely heard it talked about here on BookTube, and I know, and I've heard that it's like suspenseful, and it says it right in the front that it is. So I'm very intrigued to read it, and that is Rebecca, and I'm going to butcher the author's name because it's French, by Daphne du Maurier, I think. It says it, the classic tale of romantic suspense. Very intrigued by that. I think the cover's gorgeous. So I definitely want to read this. Again, another one that I'm a little worried about. It's definitely a little chunky too. So I'm just nervous that I'm going to get held up with some of these classics and it's going to not allow me to read a lot of books this month. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely intrigued by this one. And then the last book is one that I picked up. I think I again talked about it in a recent haul video when I talked about Anatomy of a Scandal. I got this at a used bookstore. It definitely seems like it's some type of like mystery style based on the title, and that's The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. So definitely intrigued to read this. It says it's been made soon to be a major motion picture. I think the movie did come out. I'm pretty sure the movie came out and it had Emily Blunt in it. I never saw it. But it definitely seems like it's going to be like a mystery or thriller book. So like maybe they're chasing her or something, like she's stuck on a train and like people are trying to harm her. I don't know. But that is the last book on my TBR. I think I picked out 6 or 7. Let's see. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I picked out 7. I'm really hoping that I can get through 7 books in the month of October. September ended up turning out to be a much better reading month than I was anticipated. Maybe we'll have the same luck in October. I think it's more that I'm worried I'm just going to get hung up on a couple of these books and it's going to kind of like ruin my reading flow, but maybe things will turn out better than than I'm anticipating. I'm definitely intrigued by a lot of these books, definitely interested in reading them. If you have read any of these books, do not hesitate to put some spoiler-free thoughts down below. Give me some encouragement about Frankenstein and Rebecca, please, I beg of you. And as always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.